Welcome in everyone. Today's video we're going to recap our flow alerts from 5/6 to 5/10 2024. Some of these alerts, a couple of these were posted on Twitter X free. A lot of these were posted in Stock Hub, which is my Discord service. So let's get started here. We're going to kind of go over the flow alert that came in, go over kind of what the trade topped out at, and kind of I'll show everybody kind of like the technical analysis I do with it as well. So let's get started here. So our Discord here, I post all the flow alerts in here. So May 6th we had MRVL 51070 calls at 104 come in. That net call premium was spiking here, and looking at the contract, so 5/6 here, we got it's showing 110 here. Obviously you could see the spot on there was 104, so this is the whole bar in that time frame. So this is in a 30-minute time frame here, and if I move it down to 15, so you can see that 104 in, or 102 here, 104. So time frame there, and that same day these hit 133, and to me we had some ask side flow come in here, some more ask side flow. Just because it's ask side does not mean, again, it's they're buying calls. They could be selling calls at the ask. So we had a huge spike here up to 132, and we had, because these were, let me pull this up one more time, so we had 898 contracts here. So right here obviously we had 785 contracts or so come in here, and then right after that at 133 another 200 contracts. So looking at this, somebody either took a big amount of size off or they put more size on. So one thing I like to do, you come here and look at this. So we had 3,200 contracts traded that day. So remember that whale was about 800 contracts. We only had 1,000 contracts carry over, and look at most of this flow throughout the day here. So a lot of no side, bid side stuff coming in here. So to me, that large whale probably took their profits off. So we did get another big bid side candle here, and again, this could be somebody following in here. We don't know 100%, but to me, this whale probably closed the same day. So let's move on to, actually I'm gonna kind of do it like this. So let's go back to the 6 and then show everybody what I did here as well. So bear with me for a minute. So again, what I like to do is I like to chart everything out after hours, just in case there's more flow that comes in. So obviously our flow alert, and I will break down the flow here as well. And I will, so again, flow alert. So kind of touching on what's going on there, and then I'll always chart it out too. So chart that out. Obviously everybody in Discord can come back and kind of look at this again if they want. I just kind of want to show everybody that's not in here what I like to do with the flow alerts. So then next day I kind of like to update how much of the contract came over. So again, there's a lot of intraday volume on this, so this would be harder to tell if the exact whale was still in. So again, giving notes on here. So this is one thing I like to always tell people: adjust your stops up. Just because you don't see, or just because a whale's still in, doesn't mean you have to be. You should always be adjusting your profits or your stops up, and you should be practicing good risk management too. And just because a whale lets something go to zero doesn't mean you should as well. So I like to always go into any flow alert or anything with a strict stop out, and I'll kind of, obviously if we're moving up on the day, adjust stops up. And just because something's 70 days out doesn't mean you have to hold it for 70 days. So just kind of the section, obviously can see all the breakdowns for this week. So let's go back to the flow alerts area. So up next we had PG. So we had repeated hits on the 517 162.5 put at 30 for 155K. Looking here, obviously ask side flow, spike in net put premium, and actually I'm gonna move over here. I want to go back to Marvel, sorry, because I want to show everybody the movement of the contract just so you can see, or well, you can see it enough on there. I don't know why I was gonna do it like that. So obviously you can tell I go into these videos just on the fly. So okay, Procter & Gamble, we'll go back to this. So 517 162.5 put at 30. So moving over here to our chart. So I'm going to take that off. And this is a nice thing you can do with unusual whales too. If you have it, you can always just hard a contract and they'll always save up in the My Trades area. So I keep everything in here. So Procter & Gamble. So again, this is another one where you don't have to continuously follow the whale. So again, these came in on the 7th, so 5-7. So here's your entry at 5-7, so 30 for the entry. We came up intraday, same day, we hit about 0.36. 0.36, can see the movement there. And we had some bid side volume come in towards the end of the day. Obviously not enough to be that candle, but can see here 5-7. A lot of that open interest carried over. This whale looks to be down a bit right now. They're at 0.8, and looking at the candle flow here, let's take a peek. Which on the flow alerts area, I'll show everybody in a second here. Let me pop this out. So I always come in here, kind of look at the IV. So IV's increasing. Usually that's a good sign, kind of dropped a little bit there. So, but for the most part it was increasing when that whale was coming in. And one thing you can do with unusual whales, I'm not gonna search the flow alerts for each one, but so like for Procter & Gamble, you can just come here, and when the alert comes in, if you're in the flow alerts area, you can just click on the repeated hits and take a very quick peek at the IV. So I mean, for the most part it was there and then kind of decreased there a little. I like the chart set up on PG there because, just come back to everybody here. So I mean, maybe, there we go. So I mean, at the time we were right, we're pretty much making a triple top. So I like that idea there for a little bit. And those contracts, let me close this out, come back here. So again, I mean, even if you didn't follow the whale, these ran from 30 to 0.39. That's 30%. And keep in mind, you might think, oh, that's only 9 cents per contract. Look at it in percents. 30% is huge. So I mean, that gives you enough time to adjust stops up and secure profits. So moving on here, take that out. So we had EL next, and actually we'll just do it in the TA spot because I'll show everybody this for transparency purposes first. So all our trades posted in here. So SPY. I will have to come back to the 9th because I did not get a chance to post these last night in the TA section. So EL, we had repeated hits descending fill in the 517, 133 contracts, 609 contracts at 140. So looking here, here's our alert, 140. Chart was looking nice right there. Looks like a really good bottom spot there. Demand zone as well. Coming here, here's your entry, flow. Net premiums were spiked for a good amount of sessions, so I like that one. And looking at the trade here, so here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. 140 was their entry, and 140 was their entry. So here is your whale. same day these hit 166. They actually hit a high of 195 during the week, so giving us about 40% on that one. If you held that, obviously they kind of took a little dip here, so 105 on the 8th. So, but did hit a high of 195. So, and look, to me, it looks like this whale's still in. Here's on the 7th. There is your volume carrying over, carrying over, carrying over. So, and again, you can always change the net premium. So, like how I brought up the 7 days here. So I brought that to 7 days. Big spike on the 3rd, and I mean, you had a big spike there. So moving on to SMCI, and this was a quicker one. Let me bring that back up. So updates in the morning. So this was one that would have been a intraday idea, just with how short term this was. So these 935s, and I'll pull them up here. So again, these came in with 2 days to go. Fill was 175 there, and these hit a high of 2 on the day. So I'm gonna have to. So it's gonna be harder to show it in here, but you can see that fill was in here. We obviously hit a high of, or it's gonna show 180 there. Why is it not? Might have to show it. I'll have to pull it up on Weeble. Let me see if I can do it this way. So okay, here we go. So 175, they fill that. These hit a high of 193 right here. So it was a very, very quick trade. If you could have got that, and again, this isn't a 10-minute time frame. I think I can adjust it and see how it looks. Okay, so a little better in the 5-minute. So 179, 175-ish, they fill that. And these hit a high of 196. So these had a 0.5 difference in contracts. So that's where you get the 175 fill, and this would have been a 2 fill for the ESC side on if you're selling them. So roughly 15%. I kind of like these quick scalps sometimes, especially on the flow alerts, but looking at this candle also, out. So 98.18 at the time. So you could see IV increasing there a little bit, kind of staying the same, kind of increasing a little bit. So good sign for me. And at the time, I have to go back here. There was a spike in net call premium as well. So stuff like that sticks out to me that I like. So SMCI hit roughly 15% there. So moving on, we had a SPY one now, which was a really nice trade. So our SPY whale, come back here. So SPY, we had repeated hits. I'm not going to read the full thing for everybody. So repeated hits. 522 call at 286, 366K for the premium. Clean entry there, and typically ETF flow sometimes I don't like trading just because it can be hedged. You never know. But we had net call premium was bullish pretty much most of the day there, obviously until the end when we had a spike in net put premium. Looking at the chart, we were just kind of following this weekly trend up, so kind of figured we're right in the middle there, so could see a little more continuation up, a little lower volume in the market this week, so kind of tends to move the stock up when there's a little more lighter volume. So moving on here to the trade. So whale was in at 286. These hit a high of 496 on the 10th. So giving us, that's a 73% return for that whale right there. So really nice trade for that SPY whale right there. We also had a Johnson & Johnson one that came in. So this came in on Oops. Go here first. So Johnson & Johnson, 152.5 call at 44, 116K. So we got that right there. Looking at the chart's kind of goofy here. Obviously we're kind of moving down in that weekly channel there, kind of coming out of this little, whatever you want to call, support demand zone. So kind of coming out of there. We bounced there last time, could potentially see a bounce there, and obviously we're coming off the trend line. This area back here didn't work that well, so keep that in mind. Just some charting that you can do with it. And looking at the options activity, we had really shorter term bearish flow coming in there as well. So, but a lot of the other stuff was pretty bullish, so that was something that stuck out there. So coming back to the chain, so 44 here, and these topped out at 63, giving us about 43% on those. And it looks like this whale's still in for the most part. Again, volume there, carrying over, not a lot of action down here. Looking at the net premiums, pretty flat. Obviously we had a big spike in bearish net premium, or net put premium there. So another nice solid trade there if you took them weekly. And again, a lot of these whales look like they're still in. I'm just doing the intra-week movements on these. So moving on, our next one is CGC here, and let me pull this one up here. So these came in on, I'm gonna adjust that. So these are the ones I didn't get to update, so I'm going to come back into the flow alerts. So May 9th, we had repeated hits on the 719.6 put, really good size, really good premium. We also had another one coming on the same expiration on the 7 put. So looking at these, we're just going to look at that 6, and I don't think I marked the 7 put. So here's the two whales coming in here at 0.74. So just looking at this trade here. So again, this is a really neat, easy one to see where IV's increasing. So IV's coming in here, IV's increasing on its way up to 144.86. Come in here, then we had a big spike when that second whale came in. I actually held off on the first alert when I saw the second alert coming on the same chain and saw the big jump in IV. That's when I posted that actually. So what you can see, 851 here, I actually held that off here. Let me pull this in here. So let's CGC. So I held that one off, obviously. Here's that first one, 8:45, and then 5 minutes later. So held off on that one just due to that, and then we obviously had the 7 put come in a little bit right after that. So again, these finished kind of flat right now. They did have a nice pop intraday from that first entry, but they're pretty flat right now. I'd say they're about 0.76 combined between the first group of 6 puts. 0.76 closing about, what do we close at today? 0.76, so flat on the week right now with 70 days on here. So that's one thing too that I like to look at with flow alerts. If they are long expirations like that, you can take the time to chart them out and find a better entry. You don't need to just hop in. Like if you see something that's expiring in 1 or 2 days, I can assume the whale's expecting a more aggressive short-term move. This whale is more long-term, so keep that in mind. So we're gonna I don't think I have. Okay, I do have the 7 put marked. We'll just take a quick peek at this one. So again, finishing kind of flat on the week, 127, 120-ish, down a little bit. Obviously 70 days left on that. So KWEB here, we had, let me bring this up here. So KWEB, repeated hits on the 7/19/35 call. Again, another longer term one. Good sizing. Obviously, you can tell it's an opening trade based on volume to open interest. 108K. Coming over here. So here's your whale entry. Looking at the flow. So 35-32. IV kind of staying the same. Kind of coming up a little bit there. IV's not increasing, decreasing, not a huge deal there. I do like to see it one way so I can kind of get an idea. If IV's increasing, there's more of a chance the market's looking for a move in that stock. So I mean, increasing IV suggests buyers. It can suggest buyers, and decreasing can suggest sellers. So moving on here. So obviously 43, these hit intraday. 45, 46 in the morning. Not a huge percent. I mean about 6%. And with so much time on these, I kind of don't like recapping these intra-week just because they're probably expecting a longer term move with these, but I don't want to come back in 70 days and recap. So, but just a quick 6% intra-week. I mean, day trade, whatever you want to call it. They're pretty flat as of right now. We'll leave it at that. So moving on, we have 3 left. So ITB, which was repeated hits descending fill on the 5/31 112 contract at a spot of 1 spot. It's just the fill. 1,000 contracts, 100K. Easy to see this is an opening trade. Coming over here, ITB. So again, smooth so far. Here's your whale. These are up about 8% right now. Again, 21 days on these for the whale. Very easy to track this whale. 1,000 there, carrying over. Looking at the candle. So 2404 here, 2394, 2404, just kind of staying the same. I mean, increasing, not decreasing, which is what I'd look for more than anything. Obviously a little there, but not major. But IVs staying the same, not decreasing. So those are up roughly about 8% currently. Looking at the net premiums over the last couple days. Huge spike there. Spike today along with some net put premium. And we had another KWEB one come in today. I'll just quickly touch on that. Obviously pretty flat right now, 60, down about 10%. 21 days on them. Not in a big rush. And you can also, again, looking at this one, 34.48. Let me bump the pages out. So again, 34.48, kind of staying there. Kind of IV dropping a little bit there, but with the other KWEB flow, kind of took that into account. And then we had a big jump here in IV again, so 34.41 up to 34.76. So good sign there with plenty of time on those. And that is kind of all I have for. Oh, and then we had a LYFT one as well too that came in. Huge whale here. And this was a Twitter one too as well. So sweep followed by a floor trade. 621.20 call at 49,000 contracts, 2.3 mil. coming over here. So again, could have been a good intraday scalp here. They filled at 0.47. These hit a high of 51, 52-ish. So if you didn't want to swing these over the weekend, you get that 51. That's about, I mean, 8% something for 42 days. I'm gonna swing that. I'm not gonna cut at 8%. Again, obviously this whale's still in. Can clearly see that based off that volume that came in, that open interest as well. So that's kind of all I got for today's recap video. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Have a great weekend, everyone.